Hi everyone, welcome. This is my completed pages for October 2022. I did get through my whole stack of Halloween books that I wanted to color in, so I have 17 pages to share with you today. The first page is from this book. It is called PaperCut Art Halloween. It's a color by number. It is by Sachdeva. These are grayscale images, and they are made to look like it is cut up pieces of paper and then put into like a collage form. So I did this skeleton pirate, and I don't know what my deal was. I wasn't really feeling this page, so I kind of rushed it, and it definitely shows. It might be the markers too. I was having issues with them kind of bleeding outside the lines, and then you lose that kind of nice, crisp, defined edge, which takes away from that paper look. I don't know what was going on, but yeah, it definitely shows that I wasn't that into it. Also, I put the white line around some of these, and I've done it in another page. I'll show you one that looks actually nice. This one. And this one I used color pencil, and I think that's probably what I need to go back to doing, is using the color pencil, because that will help with that more defined line. But yeah, so even the white line, I was just kind of rushing to get it over with. So kind of sloppy. So yeah, let's just move on from this one. All right, next page is going to be in Erie Patisserie by Karla, Magana. And I did the donuts, and there's some sugar skulls in here too. Yeah, so I based pretty much everything, I think, in alcohol markers, and I use Ohuhu alcohol markers, and then shading with color pencils. And then there are a lot of, or not a lot, there's a little bit of accents of some glitter glue like stickles and paint pens. Try to get that shimmer in there for you. Yeah, so just a little bit here and there. I have mixed feelings about the page. Some donuts I really like, and some I'm not real happy with, but overall it's like a fun and festive page. All right, so let's move on again to pages that I actually had fun with. All right, the next page is going to be from Homes Sweet Homes. This is by Katz. And in these pages, I am trying to model the style after the front cover artwork. I really like these soft, kind of muted tones of the colors, and it's completely different than how I normally color. So I tend to be very impatient, which leads me to coloring fast and with harder pressure. So my pages tend to be a little bit more color intense. So I have to remind myself to use like light shades, and I'll just show you a few that I've done in the book so far. And I did this one last year. So yeah, starting off with very light shades, and then just reminding myself when using color pencil to use very light pressure. All right, so I originally thought I would do one of these pages that has all these little, like a shelf full of all kinds of like spooky things and creatures. This one has the little witch, and she's stirring the kettle there. But yeah, it was a little daunting for me. I didn't have the patience, so I settled for this one. I'm calling the Witch's Cottage. And yeah, so I based everything with alcohol markers, so really light grays. And then I came in and used the Derwent Graphitints for most of the shading. So I have some of the paint sets and some of the pencils. And yeah, I think the muted colors of these work really well with all the grays. And I used some Prismacolors too. So here's the color log for this page. But yeah, so you can see all the Ohuhu alcohol marker colors. And then here's the Graphitints. These are the paint set, and then these are the color pencils. Now, I did use them as like a watercolor, so I colored with them and then used water to activate them, so they actually end up a lot lighter than that. You know, they're closer to that tone range, but yeah, so yeah, some Prismacolor pencils to add a little bit deeper shading in some of the areas. And then I also made some of the little potion bottles in here a little bit more intense color and brighter colors. I thought those needed to kind of stand out a little bit more. The little witch character, she is darker than original. She started out light and I felt like she blended in too much, so I made her a little bit darker, which I think was a good call because I think she needs to stand out. This is her little cottage. And then, so the background is done with the Graphitents, and yeah, I like it. I think it looks nicer than what I can do with the Derwent Inktense. Inktense, I think, looks too blotchy for me sometimes. So this one was easier to work with and kind of spread it around. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do on this bottom area because I really liked these like squiggly, mossy lines here. And so I thought if I carried this dark color all the way around, you would kind of lose that effect. So I just went over it with Ohuhu alcohol markers and just some squiggly lines and some little dashes, and kind of just lightened up the paint on this side, on the sides here. But yeah, I think it looks good. I can totally see this like deep in a like spooky forest somewhere. I love the warmth of the lights against the cool grays. And let's see, my owl's a little darker too than original, but that's all right. Overall, I think it turned out really well. And yeah, I'm happy with that one. All right, next page is going to be from Midnight Masquerade by Hanna Karlzon. And so my last page was very cold with the grays. This one is very warm. So I'm calling this one the Sun Princess. Mostly all warm colors, a little bit of purple and blue here. And that is because when I do this page, I plan on doing this one, mostly blues and purples. So I wanted to tie just a little bit of something over here to here. So, and then when I do this page, I'll do a little bit of yellow also, probably in the stars or on our headband or something. I don't know yet, but anyway, I'll tie those in together. And I was very equal opportunity with all my color pencils. I used my Luminance, Polychromos, Prismacolors, and Black Widows. And I don't really know why. I think there must have just been certain oranges and yellows that I liked from each set, but they all worked well together. And then the background is done with the Gallery Oil Pastels, which I've been really liking for backgrounds lately. And I used a gold acrylic paint for the little dots in here and some accents like in the little ribbon here, and also Winkastella. So it's just a very subtle shimmer inside the bow and inside some of the skirt here. All right, I can never figure out how to get it to sparkle for you. Hopefully you can see that. All right. And then of course I did spray it with a fixative because of the oil pastel. So, all right, there is that one. All right, the next two pages will be from Magic Hour, and this is by Karolina Kubikowska. And the first page I did was a video that I did. and it was called New Book, New Supplies, Let's Play. So I had some Roman Schmalz watercolors that I was trying out for the first time. And I'm not real familiar with watercolor, although I am trying to be better at it, and I'm taking a watercolor course online. So I'm trying to learn how to do it a little bit better. But so yeah, I was surprised at how many layers I had to put on to reach the color intensity that I was looking for. But yeah, I really love the colors. I think the colors all play well together. Very fallish with the mushrooms and then the leaves. Let's see, a little bit of color pencil shading. There's not a lot. And then I used Crayola pearlescent cream sticks in black. And that is in the crow, just to give the crow a little bit of shine in the feathers. And then also you can see just a little bit in the kitty around the nose and eyes. Some white Posca for the mushroom dots and other little dots around here. Yeah, again, beautiful illustrations. Okay, the next one is, let's see. Oh, where did it go? Okay, this one. And oh, I love this illustration. I think it is so cool. So again, using the Roman Schmalz watercolor, I was trying out a technique that I had learned in that course. And the course is from Domestika. I don't know if you've seen advertisements on YouTube or not. I got a good deal on a class and I've been really enjoying it. So, so for the background, I just went around like colored kind of solidly, and then you take a clean wet brush and you just dab a little bit of water on that paint that you just did, and then it kind of creates that look where it's like spreading out, that little starburst kind of look. So I think that worked really well in here. When I was picking out the Roman Schmalz colors, I think I was just concentrating on this book, like what colors would look really good in this book for this kind of style. So some of the grays that I have are this shadow gray. This is all Payne's gray. And then the bats are done in a color called Caput Mortem, which just sounds spooky, I think. I don't know, I'd never heard of that color before. But yeah, I think all the colors play really well. And then we have like these chartreuse mushrooms. And then what's really fun is I used some gold watercolor. And it is, the brand is CSY Metallic Watercolor. And so it just picks up a little bit of like gold flakiness here and there, like the stars on her face and like on top of the mushrooms. Yeah, I think this is probably like one of my favorite pages this month. So I did use a little bit of color pencil shading, some polychromos, just to get into these areas in the wings, just to give a little bit more darker contrast in there, and it looks like in the mushrooms too. So yeah, I've been enjoying the watercolors. All right, the next book is Cute and Creepy by Camila d'Erico. And I love doing monochromatic color schemes in this book. So when I saw Corey from Color Fleet Optimistic, she was hosting a coloring tag called Only Orange. Let's see, Only Orange October 2022. I knew I wanted it to be from this book. And yeah, so I picked this one, this like octopus girl here. And again, I used the Roman Schmalz watercolor, and I just kind of did an all over wash. And let's see, this color was called Transparent Pyrrole Orange. And so I did, you know, a darker wash around the edges. Obviously you can't tell anymore, but I did do some lighter shades inside her, and then went back over with color pencils. I used polychromos, some Prismas, and some luminance pencils. And then my favorite part of this is the octopus arms. Here I used the Crayola Pearlescent cream sticks again, and I just love, like, there's just that subtle, like, shininess that it has. So yeah, and then I also used the CSY metallic watercolors in copper for the crowns. I was kind of surprised at how much it covered up the skulls, or the crowns. I was expecting it to be very translucent, and so I had to go back over, kind of wipe stuff off, and then just use a more water ratio, so it wouldn't take away from the details in the crowns. But yeah, I think I like the whole orange color scheme, and then just the little hints of shine here and there. All right, so that is cute and creepy. All right, I have a few pages done in this one, Nice Little Town Halloween by Tatiana, Bogema, Stolova. And the pages in here are so fun, but for some reason, every time I go to work in it, I just stare at the pages. I'm not sure which one I want to do or how I want to tackle it. So thankfully, I saw a color along hosted by Jamie from Jamie's Coloring Love, her channel, and she picked this page. And so for me, at least, that got me focused on a page. And I usually try to stick with a minimum color palette. And with so many things to look at on these pages, I think that's what throws me off on what to do. So I've been trying to do more of like a monochromatic color palette for the house and for the sky, and then let everything else be like very colorful and not worry so much about like keeping with one particular color palette. And I think that's helped a lot. So let's see, I used alcohol markers to base everything with, and then Prismacolor pencils and polychromos for shading. Paint pens and Winkostella. Oh, I used Winkostella for the window here. Let's see if I can get that to shine for you. Winkostella is so sparkly, but for some reason on camera it just doesn't pick up. But yeah, so I did the whole kind of window, so the window had some shine to it. Let's see, I have some glitter glue and the bats and the little monster here. I really love the way the little monster turned out. He's like the Slimer in Ghostbusters, because I feel like he's left like little trails of slime everywhere. But it looks like there's like little bubbles of slime coming out. And for some reason, I really like the color of the inside of the house that I did. Yeah, I think it's like dark enough, but it still has some color in there. And I was also really trying to play around with shadows. So like I wanted these to look like they were out away from the house, not like right up against the house. So I moved the shadow a little bit away, and I think that was a good effect. Let's see, it looks like also black glitter gel pen for some of these things, like in the mouth, in the spider web. That looks like it. Yeah, I'm happy with the way this turned out at first when I did the sky. And then these colors, I was like, oh no, it's not going to stand out. Like it's going to blend too much in. But yeah, I think it works. So fun page. All right, and then the next one is the Bat House. This one. And again, same kind of concept of the monochromatic look. So kind of like pinkish purple house, and then the background is purple also. Alcohol marker base, and let's see, I used Brute Ferners and Prismacolor pencils for shading. I used pan pastels for the background, and I kind of had like a Starry Night inspired sky. So these are some paint pens and color pencils to do the little swirls in the sky. Let's see, I used paint pens, a lot of paint pens in here, glitter glue, and let's see, that's it. Yeah, I like all these little creatures, although I'm not real fond of like his colors, although he does stand out like really well against the house, but I maybe should have gone for more green instead of orange. And I love the bat ears. I think the colors turned out really good in the bat ears. So yeah, again, another fun page. Yeah, again, I love the pages in here, but I don't know, for some reason, I just get completely stuck when trying to figure out what to do. All right, next few books are going to be from some Grayscale books. This is A Little Grim World by Karlon Douglas. And I did a page, let's see, this one. All right, so let's just take a moment to look over the page. Not a lot going on, but the things that are on the page are just creepy. Sometimes imagination is worse than reality. So you see the girl, and then your eyes start kind of moving down to this cute little bunny in the cage. And then you start looking over, and there's this scary carnivorous plant with blood, and then it's tied down to this weighted ball. Now, is she going to feed the bunny to the plant? Is that her pet? Or did she rescue it from the plant? I don't know. I mean, look at her. I wouldn't put it past her that she's going to feed it to the plant. All right, so let's move on and talk about what I did do on the page. So some of it is alcohol marker. You can see on the back here. So her dress is based with alcohol marker, her eyes, I think probably her boots. Yeah, her boots and part of the plant. And then shaded with color pencil. The background, her skin, and maybe the ball and like the floor is all done with pan pastels. And so I applied the pan pastel, and then I kind of like took a Kleenex and rubbed a lot of it off. I still wanted like a hint of that like kind of mossy green color, but I didn't want to take away from the actual like pattern inside the background. So I don't know if you can see it, but there is like a diamond shape kind of floral pattern in the wallpaper. And then I took white pan pastel, and I just kind of, not with a ruler or anything, I just went in and made those like diagonal lines, and then took a makeup big brush and dusted most of it off. So I just wanted like a slight hint of that, those lines, just to pick up that diamond pattern. So I don't know if it's easy to see. And then the flowers in here, I just, hit with a color pencil, just dabbed some on there. So not a lot of detail, but it's just enough to make it stand out and look like wallpaper. Let's see. Oh, her hair turned out really good too. So I based that off of alcohol markers and then color pencil just to darken and highlight some of the areas. I used a Sakura jelly roll glaze in the blood. So just a little hint of shininess, and then also in her little barrette there. I love the way her eyes turned out. She's got like these deep, sunken in, dark eyes. But then I think the actual like iris of the eye turned out really pretty. So yeah, love the coloring, but yeah, I'm still kind of creeped out about what's going on there. All right. Next one is, this is A Little Grimm World Halloween by Karlon Douglas. And I did a video on this one on how to color challenging grayscales. So with this one, the challenge, or what was challenging about it, was everything up in the foreground is in focus, but the background kind of had this like blurry, misty or foggy background. So I'm showing you how to choose mediums that will maintain that look. Like if you just went over it with color pencil or marker, you're gonna have nice crisp edges on there, where I used like chalk pastels and like pan pastels, and then you can kind of help blur those lines, because you don't want any like distinct lines when you're trying to get something to look blurry. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, so yes, alcohol marker base for some of these things, and then color pencil shading, and pan pastels for the background here, and then I used the Koh-i-Noor, they're soft pastel pencils. That way I can get into some of these little spaces here and in the trees too. The moon is done with alcohol marker. And then, oh, I also used, if you're a scrapbooker, you probably remember all of like the rub-on transfers that we used to do on our scrapbooks. So I had a huge stack of those. So I found something, because this was plain, didn't have any words in it. So I put that there, and then also the bats. I added the bats. But yeah, I love the way these grayscale pages turn out. Because they don't have those outlined, line art, it just creates like a different look. All right, A Little Grimm World Halloween. All right, next 3 pages are going to be from Spooky Girl by Coco. And Spooky Girl and Spooky Town have been a lot of fun to work in this year. Okay, so the first one I did, actually it wasn't the first one, it was actually the last page I did, but the first one I'm going to show you is this one. I went for a blood red moon with this page, which I think looks really cool. I started off with alcohol markers, and then it wasn't as like intense as I wanted. So I used the Gallery oil pastels, and that really gave me that like dark, solid, intense color that I was looking for. Although I did go through these little lines here and use the markers. The eyes are done with paint pens. And then everything else is pretty much based with alcohol markers and color pencil for shading. So yeah, I love these pink flowers, kind of the purple like bushes in the back here, and then you have like these red leaves that I was trying to kind of balance with the moon. And then yeah, the skulls kind of stand out because they're contrasted against all this pinks and reds. All right, so her hair is a hot mess. Hopefully it's not, hopefully it doesn't look so on camera, but yeah, it's, I don't know why I did struggle quite a bit with the hair in this book, and that's just because I don't have a lot of practice with hair. I think I look at others' pages and I want to try to do something cool, not really so realistic, but play around with shadows and stuff, and then it never turns out good. So her hair actually started out as being blonde with a little bit of pink highlights, and then I think I added, I usually base it with, yeah, so I base it with alcohol markers, and then I think I went over it with color pencils, and then I wasn't getting the colors that I wanted, so I tried to go back over it with alcohol markers. And if you've ever had color pencils and then gone back with alcohol markers, the the wax kind of resists the markers, so it doesn't lay down the color as nicely, but I was determined. I went over, I don't know how many times I went over it, and it was a mess, and then I kind of gave up and then just went for my color pencils again. So purple, there's still some like orange shining through because after a while your no medium will like go on top of it. It just, it stops. So I did use some paint pens to kind of give her some bright pink highlights. So yeah, like far away it's not too bad. I'm okay with it, but yeah, it was bad. Okay, so there's that one, and then so the first page I actually did in this book is this one, and yeah, little girl sitting in like a cemetery with her little ghost friends. This color palette I actually used in Spooky Town, and I'll show you that in a minute. But yeah, I really like this like dark teal for the grass, this kind of greenish brown for the trees, and then I love this flower combination. So alcohol marker base, color pencil, mostly Prismas for color pencil shading. And yeah, I don't think, there might be some paint pens in here. See, this hair is not too bad. I stuck with the blonde and just shadowed a little bit with purple. All right, next page is this one. And same thing, alcohol marker base for everything, and then a color pencil shading. Some paint pens for some of these things in here and in the lights. I really like the glow of the lights. So I picked kind of dark grays for the background just to make it look like it was a nighttime scene. Dark bedding, and I did the hair first. Again, she started off as blonde, and then I did the orange, and I didn't like the blonde and the orange together. So after I had already color penciled over it, I decided to try to go darker. And yeah, again, it was a hot mess, but I think I saved it a little bit. It's not horrible. I'll bring it up closer, but yeah, it can be saved if you mess up, but it does take a little work. So anyway, I really like the shading on her face, a little bit of purple there around the eyes. Yeah, I think these pages are so fun and different. All right, that is Spooky Girl. And then the last three are going to come from Spooky Town, again by Coco Wayo. All right, so here is this page. This one is also from a video. It is a coloring tag video, but I'm also using just Crayola products, except for a few little accents here. But I based it all with Super Tips, and then went back over with Crayola color pencils, which normally I've have had good luck with, but with this paper, it was not really wanting to work for me. The pencils felt like they wanted to have that wax bloom like really fast. So I'm not sure if I needed to wait, like after you marker it, if I needed to wait longer for it to dry, because I do notice like Crayola markers can be very juicy and it takes a long time for them to like dry fully, and you don't want to put a color pencil on top of that. But I don't know what the deal was, but yeah, I struggled a little bit. I love the color palette. It's like my favorite Halloween color palette: green, purple, orange. And I like how it's like mostly orange down here, and then you have green, and then purple dress. Blonde hair, and this time she's got like darker purple highlights, which, it's okay. Yeah, and when I used the glitter glues, and I don't have stickles in these colors, but I had found these at a craft store, they were like in the dollar bins. So I have green and purple. Still gives off very nice glittery effects. And then on the skull head there, I used the Sakura Jelly Roll Glaze in clear. All right, so there's that. And then the next one, this was the first page I colored in the book. This is Dracula. So this is the one I told you that I used a color palette from. So I'll show you, let's see. This one. Yeah, this one. So here's the flowers, the colors for the flowers. And then the blues, you got the teal, kind of that dark brownish green color. So yeah, I love the look of those flowers. And I like the blue and like the bat wings and then the robe. So yeah, and his skin, I think his skin turned out pretty good. And I'm happy with his hair too. The only thing I don't like how I did was this ghost. I was trying to make him translucent, and then I was using some paint pens, and yeah, I don't know what happened. You can kind of see the spider web behind, but he looks like he's been like caught in the spider web instead of like moving through the spider web. So I don't know, but yeah, I really love this page and how that turned out. And then the next one I did is this one. This is supposed to be like Dracula's house, the entrance to Dracula's house. So I used kind of the same colors, this like teal color. So based everything with alcohol markers, again, color pencil shading. And then yeah, you have that brownish green color, more traditional like moon color, I guess. And yeah, I like the sign, a little bit of red, like rusty colors, but then some red handprints there. I used some glitter gel pens for that. Yeah, I think that is it. So yeah, that is Spooky Town by Coco Wild. All right, that is it. Thank you so much for checking out my channel, for subscribing, liking my videos. It means so much to me. I hope you all enjoyed my finished pages, and I look forward to November and getting into the holidays. So thank you, everyone. Bye for now.